Let me ask you something. When you picture someone who's building real wealth, what do you see? A big house? A luxury car? Designer clothes? Expensive vacations posted on Instagram? Here's the truth most people don't tell you. The visible stuff, the flashy cars, the watches, the lifestyle content, that's often the opposite of wealth. That's performance. That's what spending looks like, not building. Real wealth is almost always invisible. It doesn't post on social media. It doesn't need to. And that's actually the first clue that you're on the right track, when you stop needing to show it. In this video, I'm going to walk you through the hidden signs, the ones that don't show up in your bank balance or your follower count, that tell you you're genuinely building something that lasts. Some of these will surprise you, some might make you realize you're further along than you thought, and a few of them might sting a little, because they'll show you where you still have work to do. Let's get into it. Section 1. Your relationship with money has quietly changed. The first hidden sign is one that almost nobody talks about, and it's this. Money stops feeling emotional. Think back to how you used to feel about money. Maybe it was anxiety, scarcity, that tight feeling in your chest when a bill came in, or the other extreme, the rush of a paycheck hitting and immediately wanting to spend it. That emotional roller coaster is actually a signal that you're in survival mode financially. You're reacting to money, not directing it. When you start building real wealth, something subtle shifts. Money becomes a tool. You stop attaching your mood to your account balance. You stop treating every financial decision like it's a crisis or a celebration. You start thinking in time frames, not what can I afford this week, but where do I want to be in 3 years, and does this decision move me there? That's a massive mental shift. And most people never make it. Another thing that changes, you stop comparing your financial life to other people's highlight reels. You genuinely stop caring what someone else is driving or wearing because you're focused on your own trajectory. Here's a useful question to ask yourself. When something unexpected comes up, a car repair, a medical bill, a surprise expense, how do you feel? If your first reaction is panic, you're still in scarcity mode. If your first reaction is mild inconvenience, okay, I'll handle it. That's a sign your financial foundation is getting solid. This isn't about being rich, it's about being stable. And stability is the foundation that everything else is built on. People who are building real wealth are almost always calm about money, not because they have unlimited amounts of it, but because they have a plan, they have a cushion, and they trust their own systems. If you felt that shift, that quiet, unflashy calm about money, that's sign number 1. Section 2. You've started paying yourself first. The second sign is behavioral, and it's one of the most powerful habits in personal finance. So simple that most people dismiss it. You pay yourself first. What does that mean? It means before you pay your bills, before you go out to eat, before you spend anything, a portion of your income goes to you, to your future, to your savings or investments, automatically, without you having to think about it. Most people do the opposite. They earn money, they spend money, and whatever's left, if anything, they save. That's called paying yourself last. And it's why so many people feel like they can never get ahead no matter how much they earn. The shift to paying yourself first changes the entire equation. Your savings rate becomes non-negotiable instead of optional. You live on what's left, which naturally forces you to adjust your lifestyle to your means, not the other way around. Now, I want to be honest with you. When you first start doing this, it might feel tight. You might feel like you can't afford to save. But here's what actually happens. You adjust. You stop buying things you didn't really need. You find cheaper alternatives. You adapt. That's not deprivation, that's discipline. And discipline is one of the most underrated ingredients in building wealth. Here's the sign to look for. Is saving automatic in your life, or is it something you do when you remember? If it's automatic, even if the amount feels small right now, you're doing something that the majority of people around you are not doing. You're building a system. And systems beat willpower every single time. When you pay yourself first, you're also doing something psychologically powerful. You're telling yourself that your future matters more than your impulses. That's a mindset shift. That's the beginning of wealth thinking. If this habit is already in place for you, even partially, that's sign number 2. Before we jump into chapter 3, hit like if you want more videos like this. I've got some powerful stuff coming next. Section 3. Your expenses are growing slower than your income. Here's one of the most important and least discussed signs of wealth building. The gap between what you earn and what you spend is growing. Economists call this concept the savings gap or wealth gap. I just call it the most important number in personal finance that most people never track. When your income grows but your lifestyle stays roughly the same or grows much more slowly, that difference becomes wealth. It gets invested, it compounds, it works for you while you sleep. The problem is what's called lifestyle inflation. Most people, when they get a raise or a better job, immediately upgrade their life. New car, bigger apartment, more nights out, better vacations. The income goes up and the spending goes up right alongside it. So the gap never widens, and wealth never really builds. The people quietly building wealth do something different. When income goes up, they upgrade their investments first. Their lifestyle gets modestly better because enjoying your life matters, but the majority of new income goes to closing the gap. Think about it this way. If you're earning $5,000 a month and spending $4,800, that's a $200 gap. That's not much to work with. But if you earn $5,000 and spend $3,500, that $1,500 gap changes everything. Put that to work consistently over 10 years and you've built something real. The hidden sign here isn't a number, it's a behavior. It's the choice to not automatically upgrade your lifestyle every time your income improves. Ask yourself honestly, in the last 2 years, as your income has gone up, has your spending gone up by the same amount, or is the gap getting wider? If the gap is widening, even slowly, you're on the right track. If your spending always finds a way to match your income no matter what you earn, that's the lifestyle inflation trap, and it's one of the most common reasons people feel wealthy but never actually become wealthy. Widening gap, that's sign number 3. Section 4. You think in assets, not things. There's a shift in thinking that separates people who accumulate stuff from people who accumulate wealth. They start thinking about assets. An asset is something that works for you, something that holds or grows in value, something that can eventually generate income or be exchanged for something better. Stocks, real estate, a business, skills that increase your earning power. A thing, a car, a gadget, a piece of furniture, loses value the moment you buy it. It costs money to maintain. It doesn't generate anything. When you're first starting out, that distinction isn't always obvious. You need things. Things have utility. But there's a mindset shift that happens when you start building real wealth. Before every significant purchase, you start asking a different question. Not, can I afford this? But, is this an asset or an expense? And more importantly, what would happen if I put this money into something that worked for me instead? Now, I'm not saying never enjoy your money. I'm saying the wealthy think in trade-offs in a way that most people don't. They genuinely weigh the cost of a nice car against what that same money could do in the market over 10 years. And sometimes they still buy the car, because quality of life matters. But they make the choice consciously, with full awareness of the trade-off. Most people never have that internal conversation. They just see something they want and figure out how to justify it. The hidden sign here? You've started having that internal conversation. You've started naturally categorizing your decisions as building or consuming. You feel mild discomfort spending money on things that don't move you forward. That discomfort is not deprivation. That's financial maturity. You start looking at your paycheck and immediately thinking about how to deploy it, not how to spend it. You get excited about investment returns the way other people get excited about sales. If that shift has happened, even partially, that's sign number 4. Section 5, your network is getting more valuable. Here's one that surprises people when I bring it up. Real wealth building is almost never a solo activity. The people around you start to reflect where you're going, not just where you've been. Your network is worth more than most people realize. Not in a transactional, what can I get from this person way, but in the way that the people around you shape your thinking, your standards, your opportunities, and your baseline sense of what's normal. If everyone around you is broke and doesn't think about money, that's normal. If you're surrounded by people who invest, read, build businesses, and think long term, that becomes your normal too. The hidden sign here is that your conversations are changing. You're talking less about drama, gossip, and entertainment, and more about ideas, opportunities, goals, and growth. Not because you've become boring, but because your priorities have shifted. You start gravitating toward people who are ahead of you financially and professionally, not to impress them, but because spending time with them raises your own ceiling. And honestly, you might notice some relationships quietly fading. Not dramatically, just naturally. When you start operating at a different level, some people from your past simply drift away. That can feel lonely, but it's also a sign of growth. The people building real wealth invest in relationships the same way they invest in assets, intentionally, selectively, with a long-term view. If your circle is evolving, if you're being more intentional about who you spend time with and who you learn from, that's sign number 5. Section 6. You've stopped trying to look wealthy. This one is maybe the most counterintuitive sign on this list. You've stopped performing wealth. When most people start earning more, their first instinct is to signal it. New clothes, new car, expensive dinners. They want people to know they're doing well. That's not a criticism, it's human nature. Status signaling is deeply wired into us. But here's what actually happens when you start building real wealth. You stop caring. You realize that looking wealthy and being wealthy are often the opposite of each other. The person driving the luxury car on credit is not wealthy. The person driving a 5-year-old car who maxes out their investment accounts every year, that person is quietly becoming wealthy. And once you understand that, the whole game changes. Spending money to impress people starts to feel like a bad investment. Because it is. Morgan Housel put it well in The Psychology of Money. No one is actually impressed by your expensive things the way you think they are. They're using your things as a backdrop to imagine themselves. The car is just a prop. It doesn't make them think highly of you. It makes them want a car. Real respect and admiration comes from who you are, what you've built, how you treat people, not from what you drive. When you genuinely internalize that, when you stop needing the props, you get to redirect all that money and energy toward actually building. The sign here is subtle. It's a quiet confidence. It's wearing average clothes and being completely at peace with it. It's not needing to announce your moves. Section 7. You have real optionality in your life. Here's one that I think is the truest measure of wealth. More than any number, you have options. Real wealth isn't just money. Real wealth is the ability to say no, the ability to walk away, the ability to choose work you actually want to do, relationships you actually want to be in, and a life that reflects your values, not your financial desperation. Think about what the opposite looks like. When you have no financial cushion, every decision is made from pressure. You stay in a job you hate because you can't afford not to. You tolerate situations you shouldn't because you don't have the runway to change them. You say yes when every part of you wants to say no. That's not just uncomfortable, it's expensive. Bad decisions made from desperation have a long tail. They compound in the wrong direction. When you start building real wealth, even moderate wealth, optionality shows up everywhere. You have an emergency fund so a job loss doesn't turn into a catastrophe. You have savings so you can take a calculated risk on a new opportunity. You have enough margin that you can take a month to think before making a major decision instead of being forced into it. This is what people mean when they talk about financial freedom. Not necessarily never working again. Most wealthy people I know work all the time because they love what they do, but they work on their terms. The hidden sign here. Are you saying yes from excitement or from fear? Are your major life decisions being made because they move you towards something you want, or because you're trapped and don't feel like you have a choice? If you're noticing more moments where you genuinely have options, where you could go this way or that way, and either would be okay, that is the feeling of wealth building beneath the surface. That optionality is more valuable than almost anything in your portfolio. Sign number 7. Section 8. You've built systems, not just habits. There's a difference between people who are good with money when they're paying attention and people who have set their finances up to work even when they're not paying attention. You've built financial systems. A habit requires daily willpower. A system runs automatically. And over a long period of time, systems win. Because willpower is finite. Life gets busy. Motivation comes and goes. Here's what financial systems look like in practice. Your savings transfer automatically on payday. Your investment contributions are set and forget. Your bills are on auto pay. You have a simple budget that doesn't require constant maintenance. Just a monthly check-in to make sure things are on track. You've made the default behavior the right behavior You've removed the need to make the right decision over and over. You made the right decision once, set it up, and let it run. This sounds simple. It is simple. But most people never do it. They manage money reactively, responding to it as it comes and goes, instead of proactively setting up guardrails that keep things moving in the right direction automatically. When you have systems, you spend less mental energy on money, not because you're ignoring it, but because it's handled. Your wealth is building in the background while you focus on earning more and living your life. The hidden sign here is actually a feeling. You feel organized, not overwhelmed. You know where your money is going, not because you've memorized it, but because you set it up intentionally. If that's in place, even partially, sign number 8. Section 9, you're investing in your earning power. The final hidden sign before we close out is one that doesn't show up on any balance sheet, but it might be the most valuable of all. You're investing in yourself, not your image, not your lifestyle, your actual skills, knowledge, and earning capacity. There's a ceiling on how much you can save. You can only cut your expenses so far before life becomes miserable, but there's theoretically no ceiling on what you can earn if you keep developing skills that the world values. The people who build serious wealth over time don't just manage money well, they also continuously increase the amount of money they have to manage. They invest in learning. They take courses, read, build expertise, develop relationships, and take calculated risks on new skills. This often looks like sacrifice in the short term, staying in on weekends to learn something, spending money on education instead of entertainment, saying no to things that don't develop you so you can say yes to things that do. But the compounding effect of skill development over time is staggering. A person who consistently improves their value in the market over 10 years can end up earning 3, 4, 5 times what they earned at the start of that decade. That's not luck, that's investment. The hidden sign: you're spending real time and money on becoming better. Not just doing your job, but improving. Not just reading about life, but reading about your field, your craft, your finances, your thinking. If you're doing that, consistently and intentionally, that's the final sign, and arguably the most powerful one. Before you go, make sure you subscribe. It really helps the channel grow. Let me bring this all together. The hidden signs you're building real wealth aren't flashy. They're not about what's in your driveway or what you're wearing. They're quiet, internal, behavioral. Let me run through them one more time. 1. Your relationship with money is getting calmer and more rational. 2. You pay yourself first, automatically. 3. The gap between your income and your spending is widening. 4. You think in assets, not just things. 5. Your network is elevating who you're becoming. 6. You've stopped performing wealth for other people. 7. You have real optionality and freedom in your choices. 8. You have financial systems that run without constant attention. 9. You're investing in your own earning power and skills. None of these are dramatic. None of them make good Instagram content, but every single one of them is a building block of genuine, lasting financial security. And here's the thing I want you to take away from this video. Wealth building is not a destination you arrive at. It's a direction you move in. Every day you're either moving toward these habits and mindsets or moving away from them. You might be doing some of these things already. You might be doing all of them. Or maybe watching this has helped you see 1 or 2 areas where there's still work to do. That's good. That's the point. The people who actually build wealth aren't the ones who get lucky. They're the ones who make quiet, consistent, unglamorous decisions, day after day, that nobody sees until the results are undeniable. Start there. Stay there. See you in the next one.